Have you ever tried to fire someone who refused to leave? I promoted a black supervisor. He was very skilled and a delightful adjuster. One of his new subordinates was a hard worker but known to have OCD and bipolar, and she was very blunt. When he first approached her desk to let her know she was going to be on his team, she brushed him off and said she planned her entire day each morning and did not have time to chit-chat with him. He came into my office flustered as he had never dealt with the bum rush. I let him know she had issues that we worked around, but if it became insubordination I would jump in. Later in the day, he approached her again and she blurted out, "I'm busy, if you're going to get along with me you're going to have to observe my space." This time he stood his ground. "I am your new supervisor, please find time to speak to me now." She flared and said, "You're black." That was it. She thought that statement stood alone and was all she needed to brush him off. He came into my office flustered. I walked with him to her cube and talked to her. I asked, "What did you mean you're black?" She said, "I am busy, he needs to be patient, I have my day planned, and I do not have time to talk to a black man that thinks he is my supervisor." Now I was compelled to take her to HR. I said, "Get up and come with me, we need to go to HR right now." She said, "No, did you not understand I am busy, I have lots of work and you're messing up my plans." I headed up to HR, went straight to the VP Dan, and let him know we have a problem. He could not quite believe what I told him but the supervisor was standing there nodding. He said, "I've got to see this myself." We went back down to claims. He walked up to her and stood by till she hung up the phone. "Connie, what's this I hear about you refusing to meet with Al to talk about his new position?" She looked up and said, "Now look here Buster, I have made it quite clear, I am busy, all of you have now messed up my day, and I don't work for no black guy. You need to clear this up right now before you piss me off." Dan nodded me off and pointed to my office. We closed the door and he said, "She is gone, I have never fired someone on the spot but she is nuts and I want her out of here." Although he did not need it, he was looking for me to agree and back him up, as firing anyone required a written warning first unless there was imminent aggression or open hostility. That was written company policy. I agreed. We walked back to her desk. Dan said, "Connie, get your personal items and follow me to the door, you're fired." She said, "Look here Buster, I have work to do, calls to return, checks to issue, and I do not have time for this nonsense. It is not funny, you cannot fire me without a warning, now leave me alone." Dan said, "Connie, stand up now. You are fired, and I am walking you out now." She gave him a dirty look and started to make a call. He leaned in to take the phone from her hand and she slapped his hand away. He nodded to my office again. We walked over, he grabbed my phone and called the local sheriff's office. He asked if they could send over a unit to remove an employee. The deputies rolled up about 10 minutes later. We met them at the front door. They were amused at our request, a couple of wimps in suits that can't fire a chick. They walked up to her cube. "Ma'am, you need to come with us, we understand you have been asked to leave." She responded with, "Look boys, they cannot fire me without a warning, so you are not needed here, both of you need to trot on back to the donut shop." They got real stiff, took up their commanding presence stature, and switched to their command voice, "Please stand up and place your arms behind your back, now." She just smiled and started to make another call. The two of them lifted her out of her chair, phone still in hand, the cord dragging shit off of her desk. They spun her around and had cuffs on her in a split second. Her feet never hit the floor all the way to the patrol car. One officer came back, "We will hold her for a few hours and cut her loose unless you want to press charges for trespassing." No charges. So the story should end, nope. The next morning at 8 a.m., she walked in with some others as she left her door card when we had her removed. Al sees her and runs to my office. She sits at her desk and tries to log in. I am already calling the sheriff's office. I clear the floor and lock the doors. I met the same two deputies at the door, they were there fast. One pulls his stun gun while the other takes point. She is still trying to log in when the point man walks up, grabs her, and spins her to the floor, knee in the back, cuffs on, and reads her Miranda. They march her out, and she is screaming, "I have work to do." I follow. At the car they let me know she was rather nasty when they took her in yesterday. Now she was on her way to the psych ward. We boxed up her personal items and mailed them to her. We never heard from her or an attorney.